Good evening. I'm Eve Lyon, Recovery Navigator for CareerSource Research Coast. St. Lucie Recovery Works is an initiative supported by the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. My focus is to connect the social service and treatment service providers and the judicial and law enforcement systems to the workforce development community with a goal of improving employment outcomes for people with substance use disorder. I would like to acknowledge that this May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This has been observed in May in the United States since 1949. Mental health disorders affect millions of American workers. We think of positive mental health as an integrated state of physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. After the last 2 years of pandemic living, many people are realizing that stress, isolation, and uncertainty have taken a toll on their well-being. With nearly 1 in 5 adults experiencing a mental illness, understanding how to help is vital for family members, friends, employers, and the general public. I recently got certified in mental health first aid, and I highly recommend the training. This raises awareness of common risk factors and warning signs, and prepares an individual to interact with a person in crisis to connect them to help. It also promotes ways to destigmatize mental health disorders by removing shame or disgrace, thereby encouraging an individual to seek help because recovery from mental health challenges is possible. For many of us, 1/4 to 1/3 of our lives will be spent in the workplace. We spend more waking hours in our workplace than at home, and experience more exchanges with team members than family members. Positive workplace mental health requires investment of time, intention, and action from all levels of an organization, including executive leadership, management, and employees. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, multiple national population surveys have found that about half of those who experience mental illness during their lives will also experience a substance use disorder, and vice versa. Tonight, I have 2 courageous guests who will talk about their journeys to achieve that integrated state of physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. During my initial interviews with both guests, I was struck by the joy and sense of purpose and fulfillment they both expressed. They have realized their own capabilities and can cope with the normal stresses of life while working productively and contributing to their communities. I'm privileged to welcome Ross Headman of Just Believe Recovery, a residential drug and alcohol addiction treatment center that offers personalized treatment options to diagnose and treat addiction as well as mental health disorders. Ross, welcome.
Hey, Eve. How are you?
I'm good. The mission of Just Believe Recovery is to provide the highest level of personalized care and treatment to each client who enters the facility. All staff demonstrate concern and compassion while working with clients in a direct, respectful, honest manner, and I definitely experienced these attributes when I first met you. Can you tell us about the integrative and personalized approach that is so successful at Just Believe Recovery?
Sure, that's a great question. What Just Believe Recovery offers is an individualized treatment plan and an option for every person that enters our doors. What we find as, there are no 2 people who are quite exactly alike. There are no 2 addicts who are exactly alike. While we may share many common attributes and behaviors, the course of treatment for successful long-term treatment has to be individualized to that particular person.
And what makes Just Believe Recovery different than other treatment centers in helping people achieve these balances?
Well, I think it's a multiple approach. We are a smaller agency. We when a client enters our doors, they are truly family, and it is a sense of family. We will love you until you learn to love yourself. We will challenge you. We additionally offer several therapeutic models such as DBT, which CBT, individual and group counseling as well.
Can you tell us what those acronyms mean?
I sure can.
Not everybody knows that.
Sure. So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy,
right, and
DBT is dialectical behavioral therapy.
And what are the differences?
That part, I can't tell you.
Okay, you're not a doctor.
I only play one on TV.
Okay. We'll go there another time. So people with lived experience in recovery from substance use disorders are playing a growing role in helping people find recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about your role and why this work is important to you and those that you serve?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a recovering addict. I'm into my 4th year of recovery.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's crazy amazing. I had this amazing job, and like many others, I lost it at the beginning of the pandemic. And someone approached me and said, this would be a great opportunity for you. I had never thought previously about going into treatment. Now, recovery is something that I'm personally very passionate about, and that's about sharing a message of hope, and that we do recover, and that we do change. So it's the perfect merriment between what I personally am very convicted to, it's an extraordinary opportunity to share that message, and on a professional level as well.
So what do you actually do at Just Believe?
So I'm the Chief Marketing Officer. So I oversee admissions, case management, and aftercare planning, as well as all aspects of marketing and business development. It's a lot.
Yeah, what's a day in the life like?
Well, I truthfully, I get up around 3:30 every morning. And I know everyone's like, "Oh my God, why?"
You must work out.
I would like to say that I do. I get up and I pray and I meditate, and it's the only time of my day where it's quiet, where I don't have someone texting me, emailing me, or calling me, and that's an important part of my recovery. And once that's done, I kind of just sit down and I read every email, every text message, and I plan my day. And my day can be very chaotic. And
so it sounds like you interface with staff and clients as well.
I do, yeah.
So how do you spread the word about Just Believe resources? Like, what do you want the general public to know, and how could they get in touch if they needed to?
What I want the general public to know is that if you or a loved one or a friend or a family member or a coworker is suffering from substance abuse disorder or is just struggling, that there is hope, and that we do grow and we do change, and that no addict or alcoholic is ever alone, and that it's so simple, but yet so scary. The hardest thing for me to do was to admit that I needed help, but there is help available.
So when we first spoke, you mentioned that prior to joining a recovery group, you were continuing to work and use drugs. So I'd like to talk about some behaviors or signs that an employer or supervisor might observe, and how someone might start a conversation to offer help and resources.
Well, this is quite the conversation. So I was working from home, and this is long prior to the pandemic, and I loved waking up in the morning with a cup of coffee and using my particular substance.
Okay.
And I felt I was so energized, and I felt like I could just conquer the world, and I would sit there and I would read and I would type email after email after email. And, I remember there was one evening where I stayed up till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I think I sent out 200 or 300 emails. And my work wife called me the next morning and she says, you had a really late night and none of your emails made any sense.
Yeah. So that's a sign right there.
Mm-hmm.
So changes in behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Changes in appearance.
Definitely.
Sometimes is a sign.
I would say tardiness or consistent absenteeism.
Right. Does my loved one skip work or school or have a dramatic change in their performance is exactly what you've just described. So if somebody is noticing this about a coworker or a loved one and wanting to get in touch with Just Believe, how would they do that?
Well, they can get a hold of us either through our toll-free number, which is 1-888-380-0667.
Okay.
Or visiting us online at www.justbelieverecovery.com.
Right. And you are located in Port St. Lucie and
in Jensen Beach. Our corporate office is in Jensen Beach.
Okay.
And our detox and residential stabilization is in Port St. Lucie.
Okay. And how many beds are in the Port St. Lucie facility?
So we offer 30 beds.
Okay. So it's small.
It is a smaller agency.
Yeah. It's what you described earlier is that it really enables that personal touch, that
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one to really identify what the individual needs are of the individual who's there.
Yeah, we work really hard to identify those issues and to best support the addict into long-term recovery.
Now, you mentioned that you previously lived in Texas, and since moving to Florida, you have a completely new life.
Yeah.
You have new work, you have renewed relationships with family, and so it is important for people to understand that change is possible. And I know sometimes it happens in baby steps, but can you talk about how you started to repair some of your relationships?
That's a great question. I may get a little emotional.
Okay, it's allowed.
When I moved here, I moved here from Austin, Texas, and I did not want to move to little sleepy, quiet Stuart, Florida, from the big city. And I felt like a fish out of water. And the things that I did to repair the relationships, now I'm not a mechanic. I hate manual labor, but I started going over and mowing my parents' grass every Sunday for years. And
giving back.
It was. And it was, thinking back on it, it was an opportunity for them to see me and for a level of accountability.
Yep.
And to give back.
Opening the door for the renewed relationship as well.
Yeah.
And repaired relationships. Yeah. And now you have dinner with them every week, right?
I do. We have Sunday family dinner once a week. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love telling these stories because it just demonstrates where things can go once you do seek help. And once you do begin to, change your life and everything's possible. Absolutely everything's possible.
It is possible. I like to say that the life that I live today is the life that my disease always told me that I was never worthy or deserving of. And that life was very hard fought. It was a lot of smaller steps, a lot of stumbling and getting back up, and a lot of humility and acceptance. So
self-care is very important. And I know you mentioned that you have 3 core principles to keep balance in your life.
I do. So my balance, I like to think of balance as this, like a 3-legged stool, right? So it's always recovery first.
Yep.
Family.
Yep.
And then work.
Okay. Sounds like a really, really healthy plan to me.
Yeah. But I like to think of it that way because if any one of those legs on that stool is shorter, then it's a wobbly seat. And I'm not finding that balance. And that balance is a little bit tricky at times to find. There's always work demands where I have to do this. And then there's family demands. And part of that, I have to allocate and I have to try and balance the 3 of them. But without recovery, I have nothing.
Well, that's said really, really well. And I know you said you like to go to the beach.
I do.
Get a massage.
I do.
Have a nice dinner.
I do.
And something very important, you told me, turn off the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's hard, right? Because we live in a digital age where we're so used to instant gratification. And I have found that the longer that I'm clean, the more that I like to unplug and just sit back and garden or read or go to the beach and have that like meaningful time. In addiction, the only thing that I saw was the 4 walls of my bedroom. So it's important for me today to experience life. And to do that, I can't look at it from a phone screen. Yeah. I actually have to participate.
Yeah, that's very, very important. So is there any additional information or advice? Oh, I know there was something else that I wanted you to talk about. And is that the gift of life?
Yeah. So so Just Believe Recovery, we are committed to removing barriers to care. So we offer a Gift of Life program at between November and January of every year, where we give 20 full scholarships to our programs.
That is amazing. Now, if somebody were in financial crisis and it wasn't during that time period, would you still encourage them to reach out?
Wholeheartedly. What you'll find is that the treatment industry and also recovery is a small community, and there are opportunities abundantly. The hardest thing to do, though, is to ask.
Yes.
So reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone or a family member is listening and they would benefit from the Just Believe programs or possibly have somebody at Just Believe connect them to other resources that might be available, you want to give that phone number again?
Sure. It's 1-888-380-0667.
Okay. And also the website is justbelieverecovery.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight and for bearing your soul, really. I mean, you have just been a shining example of where somebody can go and change their life, turn things around, and you're also giving back. I mean, you are now contributing to others who are starting their journey. So thank you so much for that, for your work, and congratulations on the beautiful life that you are now living.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
My next guest is Glenda Stockton, Alumni Coordinator and Outreach Specialist. Welcome, Glenda.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you join us tonight. So what are the responsibilities of an alumni coordinator at Just Believe?
All right, as the alumni coordinator, I create relationships with our current clients. I'm responsible for taking them outside of the building sometimes. We go to outside meetings, get them acclimated and introduced to different 12-step programs. We take them to outside events. We'll go to the beach. I try to make treatment not dull or boring. I want them to be involved in real life. I also run the Facebook alumni page, which is once they are out of treatment, I keep up with the clients who have come through. I check on them. I get to do clean time shout outs, which is my favorite thing to do on there. I just want the clients to know that they aren't alone. They have a cheerleader. If in the event that they are struggling, they can always reach me to help get them the help that's.
So it sounds like you have a really fun job.
I have a great job. I love my job.
And as outreach specialist, what is your role in that regard?
It's kind of similar to the alumni coordinator, except I build relationships with other facilities. I'm kind of the liaison between outpatient. We are inpatient when they are ready to step to the next level of care and do outpatient. I have certain facilities that I work with to recommend to continue treatment for the clients.
Oh, so similar to when I was speaking with Ross, there are resources available if you can't accommodate somebody, or if it's time for them to move on to their next step, then you're the one that helps with that?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you decide to get involved in this type of work?
It was actually fate. I have worked in this type of industry before. The last time I was working in treatment, I did it for about 8 months. I enjoyed it, but then, I am also in recovery myself. I fell off 8 months in, and I thought I'll never do it again. This time I was working at an office job when the pandemic hit, and it closed down. I needed a job fast. A dear friend of mine works at Just Believe, and she told me that they were hiring for the tech position, and I was like, okay, I need the job. I got the job, and something just sparked.
Now, you mentioned that you had fallen off. Mm-hmm. Are you comfortable talking about
Absolutely.
that?
My mess is now my message. Absolutely. I'll have 4 years clean in August. I went to treatment 9 different times before I got it right. There's no shame in my game.
No, I think it's really important for people to understand that it isn't always just like one time that you go to treatment and there's a magic wand that gets waved and you walk out and life is perfect and great after that.
Absolutely not.
It's trial and error, and sometimes it is one time, but other times it just takes for you to be in that exact place in your life where you really finally get it and finally accept that you deserve to have a beautiful life.
Absolutely.
And you're worthy of that.
Absolutely. Most cases, people do not get it the first time. It is, like you said, trial and error. The only difference for me and the last time is that I actually started working my steps. I worked the 12 steps. That's what saved my life. And that's the direction that I suggest to everyone I meet.
And I know that in our conversation you mentioned that it's the family business as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that probably helps too. So do you want to talk about that?
The family business, meaning...
Well, your partner.
Oh, yeah. My partner is also in recovery. She works for one of the local outpatient treatments, so she works in PHP. She's a year ahead of me on clean time, which I guess that'll never change. But, we used to run together, you could say. We did have to separate for a little bit of time. But since we've been back together and, she's approaching 5 years, I'm approaching 4, and, we have the life that we used to dream together about having.
Exactly.
We have our son, our grandbaby's at our house right now, and God has really just shined so bright on both of our lives.
Wow. So that's why I like to focus on it isn't even just about you and your professional life, but also that you have this wonderful family life as well, and a beautiful, stable relationship, and that you support each other.
Right.
So,
and I think that's why I love my job so much, is because my own life has been so abundantly blessed that I never felt, number one, worthy of, and number two, that I could make this. And seeing how my life has just, I'm blown away with they say in the rooms that there's a life beyond your wildest dream, and I'm smack dab in the middle of that. And I know people don't think that's possible, but I just want them to know that it is. And there's such a passion to tell people, look, I know you can do this. I never thought I could either.
Right. That is really why I encouraged you to actually say the words. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So how do you make an impact in our community?
Okay, so in the community,
Talked about your Facebook group.
so it's a private group.
Yep.
It is for the alumni only, which are the graduates of the program. There's 859 members as of this morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And what I do is I do clean time shout outs, which today there's two lovely alumni. One's 5 months, one's 60 days, with a picture. Of course, I get their permission. I do respect anonymity. Most of them are very willing to do it, but they have their own little cheering section, and we encourage them. We spread hope to people that may be struggling. I also have posted my phone number on many of the posts. I just want people to know they're not alone, and this is so possible.
And they're from all over the U.S.
All
it's
over
not
the
local.
U.S. It's not just
Florida.
local. No, it's not just local. We do Zoom on Tuesday nights as our alumni meetings, and we meet at the corporate office, and we have, we just try to stay connected. Connection's very important.
And what do you do personally to stay positive and maintain your balanced life?
I spend time with my family. I like to read. I try to work out. I don't get to as often as I would like. But I make time to do things with the people that I love and things that I enjoy. I am big on me time, alone time, and quiet time. I think that's important. It's also important to have quiet time, during my morning meditation and just connect with my higher power. And then I have a group at my house on Sunday nights where my friends of my fellowship will come over and we eat dinner together, and that's just the way I start my week, and it's just a huge blessing. It's turned into a really great thing.
Sounds really, really great, and it's interesting that, Ross also commented that weekly family dinner is really a time to connect back to acknowledge those beautiful relationships that you've built and you're maintaining, and they fill you up and really keep you going. So I just, would like to always put out a few pointers. So I think committing to quiet time each day, thinking about maintaining your health. You talked about working out, and that's really something that I personally do myself as well. I start my day every day with some kind of workout. And then committing to fostering relationships and to taking a step towards achieving something of value to you. I think also something that is a pivotal changing point. So do you have an impactful story about an alumni who has moved forward and found their purpose?
I could keep you here all day bragging about the alumni. I have so many. It's watching them grow and change. I think that's the reason that I like the alumni page so much and doing the shout outs, is because I see these people when they first come in, and it's just, it's an amazing change. It is absolutely the biggest blessing in my life today, besides my family and my recovery. Seeing the spark come back to them is literally like watching someone come back from the dead. There is no comparison to this joy. I could talk about our alumni for hours. They are the reason that I love my job, and they are the fuel that burns inside of Just Believe.
Oh, what are your future plans?
For now, I'm quite content. I like life. I'm very happy. I focus more on enjoying today. I do know that I do not have any plans to leave my current position anytime in the present future. I love my job. I love the people that I work for. I am surrounded by people and led by two amazing ladies who share the same passion and vision as I do. God willing, my future will be with JB. But just for today.
Good. And so again, if someone or a family member is listening and they would benefit from the Just Believe programs, how do they find you?
JustBelieveRecovery.com. You can call a toll-free number of 1-800-723-7376. My name is Glenda Stockton. I have a public profile page on Facebook, and you're welcome to message me anytime.
So on Facebook, that's how they find you, is under Glenda Stockton?
Yes, ma'am.
That was my next question. So is there any additional information or advice that you would like to share?
Only this: addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. It is entirely too much for one person. I just want the listeners to know that you are not alone. It is never too late to get your life together. There are facilities all over the world full of people who were just once as hopeless and as lost as you may be feeling right now. There are programs all over the world full of people that want to help you. So if you're listening and you need help, pick up the phone and call us at 1-800-723-7376. We have admissions ready to talk 24/7. Just Believe is in network with most insurance companies, and if we are not in network, we know who is. We believe that recovery is possible for everyone, and we will do what we have to do to help you find it. Make today the day you decide to be different.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Just a beautiful, beautiful way to end our talk. So employment provides important structure as well as meaningful purpose for all people. But for people in recovery, employment supports long-term recovery associated with better quality of life, greater self-esteem, and happiness. And in fact, 3 out of 4 people who experience addiction will eventually recover. The mission of CareerSource Research Coast is to provide opportunities, improve lives. CareerSource Research Coast provides resources for job seekers and employers. Job seekers can gain access to job readiness support, including resume preparation, interview tips, and job search strategy. For those who don't have recent work history or transferable skills, we offer training and apprenticeship opportunities. So if there is somebody listening today who's in a work environment that they could benefit by having a change, please take advantage. It's careersourcerc.com, or anybody could always reach out to me personally. It's Lyon at careersourcerc.com, and that's ELYON at careersourcerc.com. Employers are also assisted with hiring employees and training staff through a variety of apprenticeship and on-the-job training programs. I want to thank my guests tonight for telling their stories and for the great work that they do. As you've heard, the staff at Just Believe Recovery serves their premises for mental well-being, and that includes recovery from substance use and can be a reality for everyone. We have a wonderful program that's going on right now called Hidden in Plain Sight, and it's being facilitated by Drug Free St. Lucie, that is part of the Roundtable of St. Lucie. You could reach Jovel Wharton. It's JWHARTON at roundtableslc.org. If you are interested in learning more about this, it is an actual room. It's a mock bedroom that contains 50 plus items that can indicate problems or risky behaviors. And so for anybody who is serving youth or has concerns about how to recognize if there is some risky behavior going on in their home, I really encourage you to reach out to Jovel and learn more about this. I'm excited. I'm going to be attending it next week. I believe it's a 75-minute tour of a bedroom, and everybody I know that's been through it, even people who to work in the field, were shocked by some of the hidden pieces that are in the room that you should be aware, but people just are not aware of. So it's Hidden in Plain Sight, and that's JWHARTON at roundtableslc.org. And then, of course, we always talk about 211. If somebody's in crisis at any time of the day or night, they're available 24/7. They do not provide resources, but they will connect you to resources. So you can either call 211 on your telephone, or you can go to 211.org on a computer if you're looking for any kind of support services, both to do with substance use disorder or mental health concerns that you might be having. So thank you for listening, and please tune in next month at 7:30 on June 27th to hear more stories about recovery to work and all that is possible to be achieved.